We are live from the David S. Mack Sports and Exhibition Complex on the campus of Hofstra University in Hempstead, Long Island, New York. This is Hofstra Pride Women's Basketball. Hey there, Hofstra fans. I'm Dan Savarino with Mark Weiner. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday evening right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. Tonight, the 5-7 Pride face the 6-7 Towson Tigers in their first of two conference meetings this season. Now, Mark, last game for Hofstra, a buzzer beater. Well, first of all, they get it to overtime. Annie Payton hits it with 9.9 seconds left, but a familiar story against Delaware, a loss down there at the Bob.
Well, a phenomenal shot there by Annie Payton. She's able to hit that shot at the top of the key and be able to tie it up for Hofstra as the seconds expire in the second half. But then in overtime, the Pride shoot 1 for 8 in overtime and are unable to do anything offensively. And it was just a disappointing loss, a game in which Hofstra controlled 30 minutes of play. But then the last 10 minutes of the second half, and especially in overtime, Delaware just outplayed them.
As for the visiting team, it's the Towson Tigers, a much different team than last year. A new head coach in Nikki Reed Geckler, but they're still led by Tanisha McTiller, one of the top guards in the entire conference.
Well, a completely different team, as you mentioned, Dan. Last year, their second leading scorer had 9 points per game. This year, they have 3 players above double digits, 2 of them above 15 points per game. But the main consistency there is Tanisha McTiller, 16 points per game, almost 8 rebounds per game, an absolutely dominating player out there. And it's amazing that she has 8 rebounds per game. She's only stands at 5'6", but she's a preseason first-team CAA player for a reason.
We'll get you the starting lineups in just a minute, but let's pause briefly for station identification. Welcome back to the Mack. 4 of the same starters for the Hofstra Pride against the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens last game. It's Krista Luciano running the point, Alexis Carter, Kelly Loftus, Anma Anyuku, and Alo Edifaroka, all 3 freshmen out there in the starting rotation for the 3rd straight game. As for the Tigers, Dominique Johnson, an all-rookie team member from last year, Tanisha McTiller, Markel Smith, Latori Hines-Allen, and Nairi Williams. Our officials tonight are Brian Brunette, Bob Enkerhill, and Sean D. Good. Hofstra, Mark, as we were mentioning before, facing the Tigers, it's a much different team than you're seeing from a year before. New coaching staff, new system. Last year, they were last in assists per game. Still, they're towards the bottom there, but you said it's all about the rebounding.
And the rebounding, they're averaging about 42 per game. Hofstra averaging in the 30s, so it's a team that should out-rebound Hofstra, and Hofstra all year long has had trouble with players in the post. Every single game, more than 25 points have been scored for the post players facing the Hofstra Pride, so Hofstra has to find some sort of recipe to stop these post players for the Towson Tigers.
Our coaches tonight, Krista Kilburn-Staveski of the Hofstra Pride in her 8th season, 124 wins for Hofstra. That's second most all-time. Assistant coach Faisal Khan, Dia Ravel, and Denise King. As for the Towson Tigers, in her very first game coaching in the CAA, Nikki Reed Geckler, she's her first season. She had 5 years at Howard, her first CAA game, as we said. Assistant coaches are Brian Johnson, James Simmons, and Christy Rogers. Hofstra will be going from left to right on your radio dials in their home white uniforms and a blue numbering with yellow trim. As for the Towson Tigers, they're in their all blacks with white and yellow numbering and trim for them. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday evening. Hofstra, their second game in CAA play this season. They fell at the Bob last time. This was this past Sunday, 71-66, once again in overtime. And like we said, a very familiar story. So the first time these two teams will end up meeting here this season, the next one will be down at Towson as Alo Edifaroka gets ready to tip it off with Latori Hines-Allen, and the tip is won loose on the ground and picked up by the Hofstra Pride. Here comes Krista Luciano. She started the last 3 games, and it's done a fine job so far. Bounce pass inside to Anma Anyuku. Top of the key now straight away from Alexis Carter, and that one hits back iron and rebounded by Tanisha McTiller. McTiller going the other way. Between the circles, dribbles with the left hand. As they get ready to set things up, it's Dominique Johnson. She averages more than 4 assists per game, an all-rookie team member last season. To Markel Smith on the right wing. To the right side now is McTiller. She puts one just from 3, hits front iron, and rebounded by Kelly Loftus. Here comes Luciano. She crosses the timeline. tries to find Anma on Yuku, and that one just goes out of bounds. Pass too high and out of bounds, so first turnover there for the Pride on their second possession.
Dan, that's something they tried a lot in that Delaware game, the high arcing pass inside to Anma on Yuku, but poorly executed there, showing how smart Luciano is, but she's unable to complete some of her passes.
To the right side, Markel Smith, the junior. She stands 6'1", and she can also shoot. She's shooting at 32% from the field, but she doesn't average that many points as Hines Allen hits one from about 14 feet away and makes this a 2-0 game in Towson's favor, just a little over a minute in. Here comes Luciano. She calls out a play by grabbing her jersey, one of the signs that they end up using to call out plays. There's Anman Yuku from straightaway 3. That one clanks off back iron, poked out by Alo Edifaroka, grabbed by Alexis Carter, and Markel Smith will steal it away from her. Going the other way, here comes Dominique Johnson on the right side, dribbles with her left hand, shades to the left between the circles now. She'll call for a play. Coach Stavesky said you have to watch with her, especially on screens coming around and shooting. She has the ability to do it, averaging at 12 points per game. And here comes Johnson from 3, and that one's in and out, and rebounded by Luciano. Quickly the other way, here comes Alexis Carter on the left block. She puts one up off glass, and that one is no good on the bank shot. Almost gets knocked out of bounds. Behind Allen takes it, and here comes Johnson once again. Crosses the Hofstra logo going from right to left in their black away uniforms. Pass over to Markel Smith on the left wing, guarded by 2 players. Hofstra in their 2-3 zone. To the right side now is McTiller. Inside is Camille Alberson, who ends up getting the start. Change in the starting lineup, excuse me, right there. So Alberson ends up getting to start as McTiller puts one up, and that one's off front iron from the foul line and rebounded by Alo Edifaroka. Luciano crossing half court, moves to her right, hands off to Alexis Carter. Carter has started a majority of the games this season, but she has come off the bench in numerous situations. Kicked all the way out now to Kelly Loftus. She drives baseline, but she was called with a travel violation, so it'll be Towson's ball.
And then in some of the early possessions for Hofstra so far, not in this one, but the earlier possessions, within the first 10 seconds, a shot was up, and so far they haven't hit one shot, so they need to start taking a little more time and slowing things down, and that's what I think they were trying to do on that last possession.
Hofstra 0 for 3, and they shoot 37% on the season right now from the field. Here's McTiller, top of the key. To the left side, Dominique Johnson is actually McTiller. Trips over, might have either been herself or Alexis Carter, but no call on the play as Dominique Johnson almost has to stop her dribble over to Markel Smith. Smith drives baseline and knocked out of bounds last. It looked like it went off Luciano. So it'll be Towson's ball. 7 seconds on the shot clock, 17:07 on the game clock. Tigers lead it 2-0. Inbound just to the right, and it faked the pass, and now stolen away and tipped out. Here comes Luciano, far pass to Alexis Carter. She stops on the right block, and she gets fouled on the way up. The foul will go against Dominique Johnson, her first, team's first, and Alexis Carter will head to the charity stripe.
And Crystal Luciano there making the long outlet pass to Alexis Carter in the block. That's what Crystal Luciano, this is her 3rd straight start. She's such a good floor general out there. And, you know, Adriana Thomas, we haven't mentioned yet, is missing this game. It was another violation of team rules, so she's missing her 3rd of her last 4 games. But Crystal Luciano has done a very good job stepping in there. She's played fantastically, I'd say, as Carter misses the first one, but she's been that floor general, and that's another example there of that pass to Alexis Carter. It's trying to get some offense. Yes, Carter did not make the bucket, but she'll be at the line for 2, and she did miss the first one.
Carter averaging just under 3 points per game as she hits the second one. She was 1 for 5 on the first one. Now she's 2 for 6 so far this season, and she started in 10 games and averages close to 20 minutes. Does not get to the charity stripe very often. Hofstra playing in a press as they break it now. Here's Camille Alberson and given over to Dominique Johnson, their point guard. Over to McTiller on the left wing. Inside now is Hines Allen. She puts one from 14 feet. Bounces up and in. 4-1, Towson leads it with 16:40 on the game clock. Luciano calls out a play. Hofstra has still not hit a field goal so far over 3 minutes into this ball game, and they are 0 for 3. To the right side now, Luciano drives inside, kicks out to Kelly Loftus, drives baseline, lays it up with the right hand, and that one is too strong. Rebounded there by Alo Edifaroka. Passes over to Anma Anyuku, who puts it up and in. Anma Anyuku cuts the deficit to 1. It's 4-3, 16:15 on the game clock. Tigers still lead it. As McTiller crosses the timeline, Kelly Loftus with a hand check violation. She is called with the foul. It'll be her first and the team's first. So the inbound will be just in front of us here on press row. The Alberson bounce pass to Dominique Johnson as Sydney Epps will get ready to check into the ball game during the next whistle. Markel Smith, right side, looking for somebody to pass to, goes back up to McTiller, swings it all around to the left. There's Dominique Johnson, dribbles to her right, back over to Smith, looking for somebody to pass to. 15 seconds on a shot clock. Straightaway three from Johnson, and that one is good. She drains it. It's 7-3. Towson leads with under 16 minutes to play in the first. Luciano the other way. Here's Alexis Carter on the left wing. Back up top to Luciano. She crosses over to Kelly Loftus. Loftus drives to the left hand, loses control of the ball, and getting back now by Loftus. To the inside, Aloetta Faroka. She puts one up from 16 feet away at the foul line, and it's good. Aloetta Faroka, her first 2 points, and Towson leads at 7-5 with 15:30 to play. Johnson between the circles. Now here's Markel Smith. Goes to her right. Dribbles with the right hand. Stops her dribble. Now here's McTiller left side. Dominique Johnson. They're very slow and patient and work every possession. Here's one from 14 feet away on the right elbow, and that one is good from Latori Hines-Allen. She averages 15 points per game. So far, she has 6 in this ball game. It's 9-5 with under 15 left in the first half. Left side, Kelly Loftus, top of the key, but read all the way in, stolen away by Markel Smith. Here she comes to speed, lays it up with the right hand, and it's good. Markel Smith on the turnover, averages 4 points per game, a steal per game, and it's now 11-5 Towson. To the left elbow, driving inside is Aloetta Faroka. She hits off the top of actually the backboard, just throws one up. And it'll be 4 new Hofstra Pride members that will come in when we come back. 11-5, Towson leads it. 14:30 left in this first half of action. You're listening to Hofstra Pride basketball right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. Joining us on this Thursday evening of CAA action, Towson leads Hofstra 11-5 right now, 14:30 left in this first half. And Mark, for Towson, a much different team than we've seen in the past. New coaching staff. You take a look at some of the losses. They only lose 1 starter in Michelle Pebbles. She was 6'2". She was the second leading scorer on the team, but they lost a head coach. They end up not bringing back Joe Matthews, who signed 3 one-year options, and they don't bring him back to this season. Now you have a new coaching staff.
Well, he was the coach for the Tigers for 12 seasons and only a .411 winning percentage and a .315 winning percentage in the CAA, so you can probably see why they didn't bring back, but a new era here for the Towson Tigers. Nikki Reed-Geckler is the new head coach, and she's trying to change things here at Towson, and so far they've been pretty good. Picked 4th in the CAA, 6 and 7 overall so far, with 3 players averaging over double figures.
There'll be 4 new Pride members coming in. Top of the key will be Alexis Carter. They're going from left to right. It's Asia Jackson, Sydney Epps, Ruth Sherrill, and underneath the basket, D. Thomas Palmer is driving inside is Asia Jackson. She'll be fouled. It'll be on the hand. We'll see who they give the foul to. But it'll be Towson's second. And it looks like it was on the act of shooting. It's Latori Hines-Allen, her first, the team's second. So Asia Jackson will head to the line now. Asia Jackson started the last couple of games, but the 3 games that she did start this season, she only shoots 26% from the field. If she hits the first one, it's 11-6. She only shoots 26% from the field, but when she comes off the bench in the 9 games she has, she's shooting 36% from the field.
Well, you can definitely tell she's more of that 6-man role. She plays much better. She misses the second.
She misses the second one, but D. Thomas Palmer is there to grab the offensive board and put one up and in. It's 11-8. D. Thomas Palmer has her first 2 points, and Towson still leads it with 14 minutes to play. Going from right to left, the team starting 5 that were in it before, as a foul is called there on Alexis Carter. It'll be her first, team second. It's Dominique Johnson, Markel Smith, Tanisha McTiller, Latori Hines-Allen, and Camille Alberson. Top of the key now is Smith. She shades to her right and passes over to McTiller, the second teamer preseason, first team, and she was a second teamer last season, a preseason first teamer. Albertson puts one from 14 feet away on the right side. That one's no good and poked out. Here comes Alexis Carter. She crosses half court, dribbles with left hand, up now to Asia Jackson, who's running the point, drives inside, lays one up the right. That one's no good. She goes all the way almost up into the stands, but she will head to the line once again. She went 1 for 2. It will be Jackson who will head to the line. The Towson's team's third, and the foul is on Camille Albertson, her first. The first one is good. Asia Jackson, a 68% free throw shooter coming into this ball game.
And she's averaging 6 points per game. She's been very good in that 6-man role, as we mentioned before. She misses the second one, so now 2 for 4 on the day for Jackson from the line. She was the CAA co-rookie of the year last year, if you remember.
Here comes Dominique Johnson. Right now in the CAA, she's playing 35, close to 36 minutes. That's 4th in the CAA in minutes played. She's also played full 40 6 times this season. From the foul line, Hines Allen drives inside, but she's fouled on the way in. It looks like that one will end up going against Ruth Sherrill, and Kostaveski is not too happy about it. It'll be the team's third, and it will be Sherrill's. It would be her first. On the inbound now, here's Albertson, and she's guarded on by 3 different players, but it'll be knocked out of bounds last by the Hofstra Pride. So with 26 on the shot clock, Towson will take it. It'll be Dominique Johnson inbounding just to the left of the basket. Again, going from right to left on your radio dials. Top of the key now, here's Hines Allen, and poked away by Asia Jackson. She almost has it, but taken back by McTiller. Drives down the lane, lays it up with the right hand. That one's no good, and rebounded by D. Thomas Palmer. She tries to come out, and Towson was playing with some pressure, but Asia Jackson has a big smile on her face and takes control of the basketball as she crosses half court. Jackson shades to her left. Now Alexis Carter, top of the key. Works around a screen, puts a shot up, and that one hits back iron, and rebounded by Hines Allen. That'll be her second rebound of the game. She averages close to 8. 11-9, Towson leads with 12:30 to play in this first half. To the inside now, here's Albertson. She finds Markel Smith on the left block, and that one is no good on the shot attempt, and rebound. Here comes Hofstra. Asia Jackson, cross-court pass now to Sydney Epps to the right corner. Here's D. Thomas Palmer, and Hofstra will slow things down. 20 seconds on the shot clock. They still trail by 2. Ruth Sherrill, top of the key now. Here's Alexis Carter, dribbles with her left hand, and Jackson will have it slow things down. 3 different players have run the point with the absence of Andriana Thomas. Krista Luciano, Asia Jackson, as she turns the ball over and stolen away here now by Tanisha McTiller. She comes up and under, and that one is no good. Rebounded by Alexis Carter instead, and drives quickly the other way. So crisis averted there as a poor turnover by Asia Jackson. To the inside now, here's Sherrill, tries to lay one up the right hand. She's blocked on the way up, kicks it all the way out to the left wing for Carter. Between the circles, Asia Jackson, right corner 3 from Sydney Epps, and that one hits nothing. Grabbed by Dominique Johnson, and she'll slowly bring it across the timeline. Kelly Loftus will check into the game, and so will Annie Payton during the next whistle. Here's Hines Allen. She fakes the shot and puts one up from 16 feet away. That one's no good. Rebounded by Ruth Sherrill, almost stolen away by Markel Smith as she wasn't paying attention. Kostaveski was yelling on the bench. Asia Jackson slow things down as she crosses. She has 2 points in this game. As Mark's mentioned before, she averages about 6. Here's a 3-pointer. That one hits nothing on the left corner 3, and she was fouled on the way. We'll see if they give her 3. We'll let you know about it when we come back. 11-9, 11:07 remaining in this first half of action. You're listening to Hofstra Pride basketball right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. We dropped.
No, we didn't.
Hofstra Pride. Dan Savarino, Mark Wiener, thanks so much for joining us on this lovely winter Thursday afternoon. Second game of CAA action for the Hofstra Pride, very first for the Towson Tigers. And Mark, they're led by Tanisha McTiller. She's only 5'6". She averages close to 17 points per game. That's fourth in the CAA. She averages close to 8 rebounds per game. And guess what? Last season, she was third in the CAA in scoring, only behind two seniors, Elena Deladon and Holly Mershon.
And those are two players that are some of the best in the CAA. Obviously, Elena Deladon, the second overall pick in the WNBA draft and the WNBA player of the year, the rookie of the year this year. So Tanisha McTiller is probably one of the best remaining players in the CAA. We know they lost a lot of talent this past offseason due to graduation, but just as we've said before, a 5'6" player averaging 8 rebounds per game is just incredible. It shows how hard she plays out there every time she steps on the court, that she's able to get that many rebounds, because, you know, it's a scrappy, tiny player there to be able to get those rebounds.
She was in double figures 29 of 30 games last season, and her 564 points was second in a Towson single season history. The same with free throws made, and third in three-point attempts and free throw attempts, and second in free throws made, excuse me. As Hofstra will be going from left to right, it's Luciana Anma-Anyuku, Ruth Cyril, Kelly Loftus, and Annie Payton will check into the ballgame for the very first time. Going from right to left will be Dominique Johnson, Markel Smith, Tanisha McTiller, Latori Hines-Allen, and checking into the ballgame, Brianna Bush for the very first time. To the left side now, bounce pass. Anma-Anyuku thinks about a shot in the left corner. Up top, here's Kelly Loftus, works her way around the screen, kicks out to Annie Payton, thinks about a three, drives inside with the right hand, and she's blocked on the way. She thought there would be a foul, but last touch, or actually was knocked out of bounds. A push, they're going to call it against Hofstra. So Towson will end up taking the ball here. 11-9, they lead it. Under 11 minutes to play in the first. Alo Edifaroka will check into the ballgame at the next whistle. Here comes Dominique Johnson. Passes over to the right side for McTiller. So far in this ballgame, she's 0 for 4 from the field. Here's a deep three from Dominique Johnson, and that one is good. Dominique Johnson has 6 points. It's 14-9 Towson with 10:30 to play in the first. Inside now, Ruth Cyril to the right side. Kelly Loftus, 20 seconds on the shot clock. Here comes Annie Payton, drive the right hand, but she traveled. So Annie Payton turns over the basketball, and Alo Edifaroka and Jaquel King-Gilchrist will step into the ballgame as Ruth Cyril and Annie Payton will take a seat.
And that three-pointer by Johnson was the first field goal hit by either team since 14-13, so about 4 minutes in this first half had gone by without a field goal before that shot.
Right side, right wing, Tanisha McTiller thinks about a pass, drives inside with speed with the right hand. That one lays up off glass and in. Tanisha McTiller hits her first bucket. She's 1 for 5. She has 2 points at 16-9. Hofstra trails the Tigers. Dribbling with her right is Luciano. Bounce pass to Kelly Loftus. She started all 3 last game, but she turns the ball over on a pass intended for Alo Edifaroka that she was unable to handle. Between the circles, here's Johnson. Right side now thinks about a shot is McTiller on the right wing. She has 2 points in this game, as we mentioned before, averaging close to 17 points per game. McTiller in the right corner in front of the Hofstra bench, drives baseline, bounce pass over to Markel Smith on the left wing from 14 feet away, and that one doesn't even hit anything, but grabbed by Anma-Anyuku with speed. Over to Kelly Loftus, who lays one up and in with the right hand, and it's good. Kelly Loftus, she has 4 points, and it's 16-11, excuse me. She has 2 points, it's 16-11. Hofstra trailing by 5 here, 9 minutes remaining in the first. Here's Johnson between the circles, slowly dribbling with the right hand, now up to Markel Smith. Smith has started 11 of 12 games that she has played in this season. Top the key now, Dominique Johnson. She started in all 13. Guarded on by Kelly Loftus, Crystal Luciano. Now to the left side is Markel Smith, drives inside, but she's fouled on the way. The foul looks like it will be on the floor. It will be a blocking foul. It'll be on Kelly Loftus. That is her second personal, the team's 5th. Asia Jackson will check into the ball game as Loftus will take a seat. Loftus 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, but 5 turnovers in their last game against Delaware. Inbound just to the right of the basket and handed right off to Latori Hines-Allen. Lays it up with the right hand. She has 8 points already. It's 18-11 Tigers. Luciano top the key as going around a screen by Alo Edifaroka was Asia Jackson, but it looks like the foul will be called on Alo Edifaroka for an illegal use of a screen. So Hofstra losing another possession here, and the Tigers will inbound.
That's a second foul for Edifaroka. That'll be 2 players in foul trouble early here in the first half, and she may have to come out of this game.
Crossing is Dominique Johnson, guarded on by Crystal Luciano. Hofstra no longer playing in their 2-3 zone. They're playing a little bit mix of a man. It's kind of a 2-3, but it's a mix as well. A little bit of switching is going the other way. Putting one up is Tanisha McTiller, but she's called with a charge. Drawn charge there by Asia Jackson. So Hofstra will get the basketball back. It's 18-11, they trail. Dan Savarino, Mark Wiener, thanks much for joining us on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network on this Thursday evening second CAA game for the Hofstra Pride. They're 0-1. They fell to Udell in overtime in their first one this past Sunday. To the high post now is Aloetta Faroka looking for a shot. Drives inside with the right hand down the right lane was Anma Anyuku. She lays one up and in. They cut the deficit to 5. It's 18-13 with under 8 minutes to play. Johnson likes to slow down this game, but she picks it up with speed and goes to the left wing as Luciano is still guarding her heavily. Kicked out to the right side now. Here's Jaquel Gilchrist, guarding Sierra Webb, who just checked into the ballgame, but a foul will be called. We'll let you know about it when we come back. 18-13, 7:39 to play in this first half of action. You're listening to Hofstra Pride basketball right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. Hofstra is trailing the Towson Tigers. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday evening for Hofstra Pride women's basketball. And Mark, these two teams have been in the league for a couple of years now. This will be the 57th meeting between the two sides. Hofstra leads the series 28-27 only, but Towson is 2-5 on the road, and they struggle away from home, but still, to come back into this building, they haven't beaten Hofstra. They only beat Hofstra once last year in their last meeting. That was a 69-60 win back at home on February 19th.
And this is the 57th meeting between these two teams. Hofstra leads the series 28-27 all time, but Towson so far 2-5 on the road. They've been struggling away from their home, and this is the first year the Tigers will ever take on the Pride in their CAA opener. Tigers 6-6 all time in CAA openers.
18-13. Dan Savarino, Mark Wiener, thanks so much for joining us once again on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. For the Hofstra Pride, they will be going left to right on your radio dials and on your computer screens as well. It'll be Crystal Luciano, Asia Jackson, Jaquel Gilchrist, Alo Edifaroka, and Anma Anyuku. For the Towson Tigers, Brianna Bush, Latori Hines-Allen, she'll end up shooting 2 free throws. Dominique Johnson, Sierra Webb steps into the ballgame, and Tanisha McTiller. Latori Hines-Allen, this is her first season in a Towson uniform, as this is the first one. It was a 1-1 situation. Excuse me, that's my mistake. As Luciano will grab it, she misses it. Bounce pass to the inside now is Anma Anyuku, but she's called with the foul on the way up.
And the ball seems to have gotten stuck between the glass and the hoop, so we'll take a little stick and get that out of there. But Anma Anyuku, it seems that she will be leaned on right now, as nothing else seems to be working on offense for Hofstra. Crystal Luciano hasn't been having her best game. Kelly Loftus out with foul trouble. I feel like they're going to lean on Anyuku. On
the inbound pass, the shot by Anma Anyuku is no good. Brianna Bush was called the foul. Take 6 team fouls for the Towson Tigers, so they will be in the bonus situation, as will Hofstra, 7 team fouls for the Hofstra Pride, so the Tigers already in the 1-1. McTiller to the right side looking for Hines-Allen, and she passes it to her on the right side. Right block now, spin around jumper, and that one is no good. Rebound grab there almost by Sierra Webb. Knocked out of bounds last by the junior, so Hofstra will take the basketball. 7:08 remaining in the first. Tigers lead it 18-13. Hofstra so far has not led 13 minutes into this ball game. Luciano, the freshman, dribbles with the right hand, looking for somebody to pass to, and she was attending for Anma Anyuku, but Hines Allen had her arm on her, so it'll be a hand check. That will be Hines Allen, her second, and the team's 7th. So Anma Anyuku will shoot a 1-and-1.
Anyuku so far in this game with 4 points, 2 for 4 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, but she's definitely the team leader. She's the leading scorer. She's averaging a little over 12 points per game and almost 7 rebounds. She's the captain of this team, the one and only captain of this team, as she sinks the first of the 1-and-1, so she'll be back at the line for the second. But she's just such a vocal leader out there. They call her the professor, does the coaching staff, and she's really leaned on by these freshmen like Kelly Loftus and Crystal Luciano as she sinks both.
A 71% shooter from the charity stripe. She has 6 points in this ball game. It's 18-15. Crossing the timeline is McTiller quickly. Now a left corner 3 from Dominique Johnson. That one's no good. Rebound there, grabbed her first of the game by Jaquel King-Gilchrist. With speed, here comes Luciano, the Puerto Rican native, kicks out to Anma Anyuku on the left corner. And here's Asia Jackson, slow things down. And here's Luciano, the freshman. Jackson, now a left elbow jumper from Alo Edifaroka. That's no good. And rebounded there by Latori Hines Allen. And coming the other way, here's Dominique Johnson. Between the circles, Hofstra trailing at 18-15 to the Tigers with under 6:30 to play in this first half of action. Johnson kicks out to Hines Allen on the left side. Now here's Sierra Webb. Fakes the shot out to Dominique Johnson. Crystal Luciano still guarding on her. Hines Allen, right corner. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Dribbles back to her left hand. 3 defenders on her. 2 seconds. They have to get a shot off. Here's a deep 3 from Tisha McTiller. Hits front iron and grabbed by Anma Anyuku. Here comes Luciano going from left to right in their home white uniforms. They'll slow things down. Now Luciano, she was the CAA Rookie of the Week December the 8th. And has double-digit points in 4 of 12 games. She puts one up from 3, and that one is no good. A foul will be called. They're calling it on Latori Hines Allen, so that will be her 3rd and the team's 8th. So Hines Allen, their second leading scorer, already in foul trouble here with 3 fouls in this first half. Now, she averages about 3 fouls per game. So to have her out of this ball game, very important. Brianna Bush will also take a seat. So stepping into the ball game now will be Camille Alberson, as Alo will shoot. Looks like she'll end up shooting 1 here on the 1-and-1, and she misses the first one and rebounded there by Alberson. Alacia Mitchell stepped into the ball game as well for the Towson Tigers. The first action we've seen from her, only her 4th appearance so far. She did not see action in the first 10 games this season. McTiller from just inside 3-point range on the left wing. That's no good. And a foul will be called, so looks like who they will call it on Alberson. So with Hofstra, of course, in the bonus situation, they will end up shooting 1. It'll be the team's 9th for the Tigers. They laid it 18-15, so a good chance here for Kelly Loftus to bring them within 1 point in this first half.
That's McTiller's 6th missed field goal of the game so far. You don't expect that from your leading scorer, your preseason all-first-team CAA player, and that's absolutely huge for this Pride team. They're able to stop her on the defensive side of the ball, and now Hines Allen out with foul trouble. She's got 8 points so far. You don't know where the offense is going to come from Towson.
It's missed by Kelly Loftus, but tipped out by Alo Edifaroka. She tries to find a behind-the-back pass to Alo in front of the Towson bench, but she ends up turning the ball over instead, and here comes McTiller, the preseason first-team player. 1 of 5 to be members of that team. Hofstra had 2 on the second team and kicks it out over to Mitchell on the right block. She goes up, and she's fouled on the way up, so looks like they're calling that one on Jaquel King-Gilchrist. Excuse me, on Crystal Luciano on the way up, so Mitchell will end up shooting 2. It's the 8th team foul for the Hofstra Pride.
You got to watch that with Luciano. In that last game against Delaware, she couldn't play big minutes down the stretch because she was in foul trouble. She had 4 in the final minutes, as the first one is good for Mitchell. And you have to watch that. If she's running the point for this Pride team, she is the only true point guard with Andriana Thomas out of the game. So Luciano's a very important cog to this Hofstra Pride offense and defense for that matter. And now Mitchell at the line. She's 5 for 5 on the year now with that made one.
5 for 6 as she misses the second, but an offensive rebound by McTiller. She tries to put one up with the right hand, but she's fouled. So 9 team fouls for the Hofstra Pride. McTiller will head to the charity stripe to shoot 2. It'll be on Alo Edifaroka, her second. She fouled out last game. So something that really needs to be focused on, especially with this team that is so good on the offensive glass. They average 18.5 offensive rebounds per game as McTiller's first one is good. It makes it a 20-15 ball game. But McTiller herself averages about 4 offensive rebounds per game.
That's only her 3rd rebound of the game, Dan. Only 2 points for her. 3 with that made field goal. 1 for 7 from the field. Not what you expect from McTiller, but she showed there that she can dominate the glass as she makes the second.
It's a 6-point ball game. Towson leads at 21-15 with 5 minutes now remaining in the first half of action. Again, the Tigers have led every moment of this ball game. D. Thomas Palmer just checked in, and a right side now drives baseline as Jaquel King-Gilchrist rolls in and out and rebounded by Alberson. From right to left, here's McTiller, right in front of the Hofstra bench. Stutter step, brings back, and will slow things down. She wanted a play to be drawn up there. But Dominique Johnson from an impossible angle on the baseline is no good. Mitchell there for the rebound. She has it loose on the ground, tries to kick it out. And as Jaquel King-Gilchrist will take it, Sierra Webb will foul her. The referee is calling it a push. Webb is confused on the call for Webb. That will be her first, the team's 10th. So Jaquel will shoot 2 at the charity stripe now.
Looked like it could have been called a jump ball for a second, but the ref ruled that Jaquel King-Gilchrist was pushed down, so she'll go to the line for 2. Has no points today so far, and this could be a little inch closer for Hofstra as they're only trailing by 6 right now.
Jaquel's first one is no good. Coming into the ball game, she was 7 for 8 on the season, the transfer from Florida State, playing 10 minutes, and only one of 2 players to average under 10 minutes per game. 10 members of this Hofstra Pride team average 10 or more minutes per game. The second one drains it, so she has 1 point in the ball game and cuts it to a 5-point deficit. Towson leads at 21-16, 4:30 even on the clock. Alexis Carter steps in. Jaquel takes a seat. It's Luciano, Asia Jackson, Anma Anyuku, D. Thomas Palmer, and Alexis Carter. Going the other way for the Tigers, Dominique Johnson, Tanisha McTiller, who has it on the right wing now, Mitchell, Sierra Webb, and Alberson. Top of the key, kicked all the way out to Sierra Webb, and back up top between the circles is Dominique Johnson. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Thinks about a 3-pointer. Inside now, Mitchell. There's a stutter step, but she's called with a travel violation. Towson's first travel of the ball game, so Hofstra will take control here and try and cut this deficit to 3. Here comes Luciano. She crosses the Hofstra logo. Stutter step to her right. Here's Asia Jackson. Works around a screen. Back over to Luciano in the right corner. Bounce pass. D. Thomas Palmer. Spin around move and lays one up the right hand, but that's no good. Rebounded by Mitchell. Johnson will slow things down. Kicks it over to McTiller on the left wing. She thinks about a 3-pointer. She takes the shot, and that one's no good. And goes out of bounds, so Hofstra basketball. Hofstra will take possession going from left to right when we come back. 21-16, Tigers lead it, 3:43 on the game clock in this first half of action. You're listening to Hofstra Pride basketball right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. 1.5. The Towson Tigers lead the Hofstra Pride here. Dan Savarino, Mark Wiener, thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday evening. Now, Mark, for this Pride defense, I guess you could say one of the strong points when they actually get it done. That's the big situation. They're 83-18, their last 101 games when holding opponents to under 60 points, but their three-point defense, 33rd in the nation and first in the CAA right now.
Well, and they just do a great job with that perimeter defense, as you mentioned. Only 26% our opponent shooting from beyond the arc against this Hofstra Pride defense. Their main problem has been the post defense. That's something they've been struggling with all year long, but from the perimeter, Hofstra very good, and they held a pretty good Harvard team to their season low of 60 points.
Luciana Onyuku, Alexis Carter, D. Thomas Palmer, and Asia Jackson kicks out now to the left wing, top of the key, and worked all the way around to Luciano. Cross-court pass, bounce pass inside quickly to D. Thomas Palmer, who couldn't lay one up the right hand, gets her own rebound, tries to put up the second one, no good, and the rebound is grabbed there by Alberson. Going the other way, it's McTiller, Alberson, Dominique Johnson, Markel Smith, and Alacia Mitchell. In only her 4th game this season, she did not play in the first 10. Fouls called, and it looks like a knee was stuck out there by number 32 they're calling on, Alacia Mitchell. So Hofstra will take the basketball here. Onyuku inbounds it to Luciano. Crosses half court. The Pride still have not trailed, have not led in this ball game. They're shooting only 24% from the field, 5 for 21. Drives baseline is Carter. Kicks out, almost stolen away by Johnson. But Asa Jackson has it. Now here on the left wing, thinks about a shot from Alexis Carter. She takes it. No good. D. Thomas Palmer grabs a rebound, tries to lay one up the right, and she's fouled by Mitchell. So D. Thomas Palmer will shoot 2. And they're calling it on Markel Smith instead, number 20. 10 team fouls, so no matter what, they would have shot 2, but it was on the shot. So here's D. Thomas Palmer. She averages about 8 minutes per game, only about 2 points per game. She misses the first one and was 2 for 8 heading into this ball game from the free throw line this season. Mark D is somebody who is so smart, such a smart basketball player. Fasselcon mentions it all the time. But unfortunately for her, injuries have hurt her. She hits the second one. It's 21-17 now. Tigers still lead it. Going from right to left. Here comes Dominique Johnson as she calls out for a screen. She gets it from Mitchell. Runs all the way around to the left wing now. Looking for somebody to pass to. Goes down low to Tanisha McTiller. Back up top, Johnson. Thinks about a shot. Dribbles between her legs. And a foul will be called on D. Thomas Palmer. That'll be her first, the team's 10th. So now in the double bonus situation will be the Tigers. Mitchell at the charity stripe, and so far in this game, she has 1 point. She hits that one. She's now 2 for 3, and she was 4 for 4 coming into this ball game. Checking in now for Asia Jackson will be Annie Payton. Now Annie's start streak ended after a CCSU against Albany, as the second one is missed by Mitchell, and Carter grabs the rebound. Going from left to right, here's Luciano between the circles, calls out a play. Here's Alexis Carter, left wing, back up top, Luciano. Annie Payton, bounce pass to Anmanyuku, the captain, kicks it all the way around. 15 seconds on the shot clock, bounce pass, low post, and now kicks up, bounce pass once again to the low post on the right block, and lays one up and in for D. Thomas Palmer. Timeout called immediately by Coach Geckler. It's 22-19. Hofstra's deficit is now 3 points. D. Thomas Palmer has 5.
Easily D. Thomas Palmer's best game of the season so far. She's got 5 points and 5 rebounds, and she's been playing very well down on the low post, been able to grab the rebounds and play a very good game.
So take a look at some of the leading scorers in this game. It's LaTorri Hines-Allen. She has 8 points, but she also has 3 fouls in this first half, so she has not played. It's about the 7-minute mark. Anmanyuku has 6. D. Thomas Palmer, 5 rebounds, 5 points. Her season high is 5 points against Robert Morris. Her career high is 6 points. So she's 2 away now. On the inbound will be Mitchell to the right of the basket. Going from right to left, Mitchell, Alberson, Johnson, McTiller, and Markel Smith. For Hofstra, it's Alexis Carter, Anma Onyuku, Annie Payton, Luciano, and D. Thomas Palmer. right in front of press row, dribbling with her right hand, leaves one up with the right once again is Dominique Johnson. She drove down the lane, but fouled. We'll see who they call the foul on. It'll be Anma Anyuku, her second. 22-19, under 2 minutes to play in this first half. The Tigers lead it. Alberson from the charity stripe, and she hits the first one. We apologize for all the technical difficulties we're having on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. But we are back. Dan Savarino, Mark Wiener. It's 23-19, under 2 minutes to play in this first half of action. Alberson hits the second one. She's 2 for 2, and it's 24-19. Luciano with speed, right in front of the press row, dribbles the right hand, back up top, Annie Payton. She takes a deep three, and that's good. Annie Payton, her first three-pointer of the game. She was 2 for 4 against Delaware. It's 24-22. The Pride deficit is only 2 with about 90 seconds to play. Johnson, here's Alberson, right wing. Kicked all the way out to the left corner now from Markel Smith. Thinks about a shot. Here's Johnson. Cross-court pass, and tipped away by Alexis Carter. So they'll have 12 seconds on the shot clock.
I'm not sure what Johnson was trying to do there. Player down low was easily guarded by Dee Thomas-Palmer and Sydney Epps. There was nowhere to go, and she tried to force a pass in.
Inbound just to the left of the basket. Picked up top to McTiller. Thinks about a pass, so slow things down top of the key. McTiller calling out for a pick, but she drives to her left and doesn't take it. Instead, drives down the lane and knocked out of bounds last by the Hofstra Pride, so they'll only have 2 seconds, just enough time to inbound and quickly shoot. 1:15 on the game clock in this first half of action. Inbound from Johnson, kicks all the way out to McTiller. She has to put up a shot, and that one's good. At the shot clock, violation just near it. It's 27-22. Tanisha McTiller hits a three-pointer. 1 minute to play. Here's Dee Thomas-Palmer. Kicks out to the right wing. Sydney Epps checked into the ballgame. Another three-pointer from Annie Payton, and back-to-back threes from Annie Payton. It's 27-25. Towson still leads it, under a minute to play in this first half. Johnson between the circles, goes around a screen, but heads by Luciano to the top. McTiller, left side, thinks about a three-pointer, takes it, and that hits front iron. Knocked out of bounds, looked like it was knocked out of bounds last by the Towson Tigers. That's what they're calling it. So it'll be Hofstra basketball, 27-25, and a timeout is called. A 30-second timeout will be called by the Hofstra Pride. It's 27-25, 37.1 remaining in the first half, and Mark, they have not led in this ball game. This is the closest they've brought it in some time. They're now shooting 32% from the field. At one point, they were shooting below 30.
And it's a game where there were a lot of sloppy mistakes by the Hofstra Pride team early on, but they've been fixing those later now in this game. Annie Payton has hit 2 clutch threes in a row at the end of this first half, much like she did at the end of the game in Delaware to tie it up and send that game to overtime. So Annie Payton didn't get the start today. She's in that 6-man type of role off the bench, and she's been doing a pretty good job. And Hofstra shooting are matching Towson in terms of shooting, both shooting 32%.
Luciano, Epps, Annie Payton, Alexis Carter, Dee Thomas-Palmer. Bounce pass inside. Dee Thomas-Palmer spins around, and that's good. Off glass and in. A new career high for Dee Thomas-Palmer. She has 7 points, and she ties this game up at 27 between the Towson Tigers and the Hofstra Pride. 15 seconds remaining in the first half. Shot clock will be turned off. 10 seconds. They'll have the last shot. Johnson drives to her left hand. Only 5 seconds left on the game clock. Kicks out top of the key. Alberson goes to Tanisha McTiller. Puts a three-pointer up at the buzzer. That's no good. The buzzer beater, no good. Kostoveski's pumped up. They're tied going into half.
And Dee Thomas-Palmer, as you mentioned, Dan, a career high with 7 points, 5 rebounds. What a half she's had in this first half against Towson. You've never really seen much of this from her. She's been playing easily the best game of her career so far. She looks dominant down there in that post, and that's something you've just never really seen from her at any point in her career. Yes, she's only a sophomore, but she's played more minutes today than she's played in quite a while, and she only averages 8 minutes, and she's been taking advantage of every amount of playing time she's been getting in this one.
Towson 1 for their last 10 shots. Hofstra 4 for their last 10, but including 2 big three-pointers from Annie Payton and another 2-point bucket off glass and in in the low post by D. Thomas Palmer ties up this game at 27. Hofstra's only been tied at halftime. That was once. That was a week and 1 day ago against Albany in their victory over the Great Danes, who are a pretty good mid-major team, one of the top 20 mid-major teams in the entire country. As for the Towson Tigers, they've been tied at half once, and they're 1-0 on the season. So both teams 1-0 when tied at half. So, Mark, a much different, a much better performance we see in the last couple of minutes. Andy Payton comes off the bench, provides a spark. What do you want to see from this second half for Hofstra?
Exactly what they did in the second half of the first half, if you'll say that. You know, most of their turnovers came early in the first half. They have 9 turnovers so far, and Towson has 12 points off of turnovers, so they're definitely capitalizing on those opportunities Towson is that Hofstra was giving to them. So Hofstra just needs to continue to make their shots. They've gotten their field goal percentage up to 35%, 9 for 26 in the first half, and they were playing much better basketball in the second half and a little less sloppy, if you will, as it was early in that first half.
They were 4 for 7 from the field in the last 3 minutes and 43 seconds of that first half of action, as well as out-rebounding Towson 6-3. Well, that will do it for us here from Mark and myself. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, but stay tuned. Halftime edition of The Locker Room. Mark Proust and the gang breaking it all down, highlights included. You don't want to miss this. Mark, take it away. locker room with Mark Person and the gang, you saw the difference in the last couple of minutes of this ball game and where they could be effective. D. Thomas Palmer, she has a new career high all in the first half. 2 big three-pointers from Annie Payton, and we have a tie ball game.
And D. Thomas Palmer and Annie Payton are the two reasons I think Hofstra's back into this game. Early on in the first half, Ama Onyuku was the leading scorer. She had 6 points. She was pretty much the offense, and a couple other players chipped in with some points here or there. But late in that first half, Annie Payton, as you mentioned, hit those 2 big three-pointers, and D. Thomas Palmer got most of her points in that final couple minutes of the first half, and she's got 7 now that you mentioned her career high. So those are the 2 players surprising, not necessarily surprising with Payton, but a very pleasant surprise with D. Thomas Palmer leading the team in scoring.
Before we start the final 20 minutes of action, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. Savarino, Mark Wiener, thanks for joining us once again on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network, all across the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. Mark, I think one thing you can say surprising in that first half was the rebounding margin, at least so far in this game. They're out-rebounding them 24-18 on the Hofstra Pride, both on the offensive glass and the defensive glass. Well, meanwhile, Towson, they're 63rd in the nation and 3rd in the CAA with a plus 5.8 rebounding margin, while Hofstra, they're 149th out of 343 teams, only a 0.8.
And that's an incredibly impressive number for Hofstra, but it's a matter of, yes, you did it in the first half, but you have to continue that in the second half. That's been something that Hofstra hasn't necessarily been good at all the time, is keeping up the good play throughout a full 40 minutes. So it's going to be a very big test for this team here. Can you, in your second CAA matchup, your first home CAA matchup, continue and play a full, strong 40 minutes? And maybe they did the opposite of what they did at the Delaware game. They didn't have such a good first 10 minutes. Maybe they'll finish it out with a strong 30. Towson
will be going from left to right in their all-the-way black uniforms with a white numbering and yellow trim. It'll be Dominique Johnson, Alberson, Markel Smith, Tanisha McTiller, and Latori Hines Allen, who had 3 personals in the first. For the Hofstra Pride, it's Luciano, Alexis Carter, Anma Onyuku, Alo Edifaroka, and Kelly Loftus, the starting 5 that we saw in the beginning of the game. Here's a 16-footer from the right side from Hines Allen. That's no good. And a rebound grabbed there by Edifaroka. Her 4th rebound in this game. Quickly the other way, bounce pass to the inside. Now on the right block is Anma Onyuku. Lays it up and in. The first lead of the ball game for the Hofstra Pride. It's 29-27, just less than 30 seconds in. Ayo has 6 points as Hines Allen leads all scorers right now with 8. Here's a 3-pointer from Alberson. That's nothing but net. Camille Alberson, 3 for 10 from beyond the arc before this game. She puts 3 points on the board. They take the lead right back. It's 30-29, Towson. Luciano, here's Kelly Loftus, thinks about a shot. Luciano dribbles with the right hand, now Alexis Carter. Circles around, puts one up from 14 feet away, excuse me, more like 17 feet away, rebounded by Tanisha McTiller. Mark McTiller, one of the top players in this conference, there's no question about it. And I think it's safe to say when you have one of the top players in the conference, you're going to produce game in and game out, and that's why Towson has completely changed and completely rebuilt this season. Here's Dominique Johnson, McTiller on the left side. She'll put up a 3-pointer from the left wing. No good. A rebound there from Kelly Loftus. Quickly the other way in transition as Alexis Carter stops, pops, puts it in off glass and in. Hofstra has the lead back. It's 31-30, and a timeout is called immediately by Nikki Reed-Geckler.
Kelly Loftus doing a good job there finding the wide open Alexis Carter. She was able to get the ball all the way down and lay it right up and in. An easy shot for Alexis Carter. But Dan, you mentioned Tanisha McTiller there before. Only 7 points in this game. That last missed 3-pointer was her 6th missed 3 of the game so far, and she's 2 for 13 from the field. Not what you expect from one of the better players in the CAA. Only 7 points and 2 made field goals and only 4 rebounds.
Well, McTiller, Mark, coming in from 3-point range was 10 for 40. That's 25%. But from the field, 35% shooting from the field, like you said in this game. 2 for 13, 1 for 7. She also has 4 rebounds, and that's something that always helps her. It's those second chance efforts. She's so strong, especially only to be 5'6". That's what makes Tanisha McTiller such a special player. But going the other way, you got to look at this Hofstra Pride team. and how young they are. This is the third straight game now. All three freshmen were in the starting lineup. And, you know, if you ask Coach Krista Kilburn-Stavesky early on in the season, were you expecting this? I don't think she really would be. I think she was hoping it, but I don't think she was expecting, even though she has a young team, all three freshmen to be in the starting lineup at some point in the season, especially their first CAA game Sunday, now their second here.
Well, I think the only true expected one was Alo Edifaroka, because you lose Shantae Evans down in the post. Who's going to replace her? Well, how about your freshman that's 6'3", the tallest player on the team? So you expected Alo Edifaroka to pretty much start in that 5 position, if not Ruth Sherrill. But Crystal Luciano and Kelly Loftus, you don't necessarily expect, and they've been a very pleasant surprise. But let's face it, they've played better than their senior counterparts, Andriana Thomas and Annie Payton, so they deserve the playing time. And Crystal Luciano, yes, she's a freshman, but she looks like a senior out there. She has the smart, she has the poise. She's a leader out there on the court, and that's why she's in the starting lineup.
So behind Allen, Dominique Johnson, Alberson, Tanisha McTiller, and Markel Smith going from left to right for the Towson Tigers team. Starting 5 for the Hofstra Pride: Luciano, Alexis Carter, Anma Anyuku, Alo Edifaroka, and Kelly Loftus. Shades to her left is Dominique Johnson. Kicks it out to Markel Smith, top of the key. Here's McTiller. Fakes the pass. Goes now over to Smith, who puts a shot up from 14 feet away on the left side. It's no good. Rebounded. And here comes Luciano with speed. Far pass looking for Anma Anyuku underneath the basket, who lays one up off glass. That's no good. Second chance effort from Alo. Misses. Third chance, and she's fouled. Alo is pumped up but mad that she missed the second and third chance efforts, but she will head to the charity stripe to try and give Hofstra a 3-point lead.
Watching Alo Edifaroka do things like that in the post just is an encouraging sign for her future. She's a very raw talent, as we've mentioned all season. A freshman, doesn't necessarily have the conditioning to play a full 40 minutes as she makes the first free throw. It's now 32-30 Hofstra, and Alo Edifaroka, she has that so much potential down there to be such a post presence. I'm not going to say she's going to be a replacement for Shantae Evans, but she's definitely the only one who's on the team who has the height of Shantae Evans and the size.
She misses the second one, and nobody really can replace the number 22 banner that's raising right behind us here on press row. The foul is on Markel Smith, her second of the game, team's first foul. So going the other way, it's 32-30. Here come the Tigers going from left to right. McTiller on the right side. Crosses over to Dominique Johnson. Nobody near her, and she hits off back iron. Second chance effort from Alberson. No good. Alo tries to grab it. Ball loose on the ground, picked up by Alberson. And it looks like they're calling a jump ball. So it'll be Hofstra's possession on the possession arrow. So Hofstra takes it 17-23 left in this second half. They lead 32-30. Their first lead came in the second half. They were tied at halftime at 27. Here comes Crystal Luciano. She crosses half court. And Alexis Carter on the right wing. Carter now to Luciano. Thinks about a shot. Bounce pass to the mid post. Here's Alo Edifaroka on the post move. Spins around. Here's to Luciano. Thinks about a three-pointer. Kicks out. Alexis Carter tries to bounce pass inside to Alo. Hofstra still has it. 10 seconds on the shot clock. A three-pointer from Luciano is no good. She got bumped on the way down. Looks she tried to draw one as well. But here come the Tigers. McTiller, top of the key. She ends up taking a three-pointer straight away. Bounces around, no good. Rebound grab there by Hines Allen. And a foul will be called against the Hofstra Pride. Looks like it will go against Anma Anyuku as Ruth Sherrill will step into the ballgame. For AO, it's her third, the team's first. So Anyuku, the captain, in foul trouble. As you just said, Alo Edifaroka takes a seat as Ruth Sherrill will step in. So a new 30, and Hines Allen will inbound just to the left of the basket. Asia Jackson will step into the ballgame at the next whistle. Here's Dominique Johnson between the circles. Here's McTiller right side. Back up top, Johnson now to the left wing is Smith. Just give it to Alberson, guarded on heavily by Anma Anyuku. Johnson spins around, kicks out to McTiller, thinks about a shot, drives to her left, stops and pops, no good, and rebounded by AO. For Anyuku, that's her third rebound of the game. Quickly the other way, here's Ruth Sherrill, lays it up with the right hand and in. Good precision from from Crystal Luciano on the pass, and it's now 34-30.
Luciano's third assist on the game so far, Dan.
Stopping her dribble is Dominique Johnson. Here's Alberson. Johnson puts one from deep three, nothing but net. Dominique Johnson She's 3 for 6 from beyond the arc now, and it's 34-33. She cuts the deficit to 1. Towson trails. On the right block is Anma Anyuku, but she's called with a travel. It'll be Towson ball when we come back. 34-33. Hofstra leads it over the Tigers. 15:43 remaining in this second half. You're listening to Hofstra Pride basketball right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. A 50% shooting from the field.
And the numbers don't say enough about Crystal Luciano, the player. She's just such a floor general out there, and the heart and the hustle she brings to the court. She creates turnovers. She gets the ball back for Hofstra anytime they need it, and she's able to find players and create offense. She might not always get that first assist, but if you'll let me use a hockey euphemism here, Dan, she'll get that second assist. She'll create the play. So you're not going to see it on the stat sheet, but she's normally the reason for the Hofstra offense if she's playing the point.
Johnson, Sierra Webb, Hines Allen, Alberson, and Markel Smith as a foul's called. It will go against Sierra Webb. That'll be her second, team second, and Hofstra will take control of the basketball. Kelly Loftus, Crystal Luciano, Asia Jackson, Annie Payton, and Ruth Sherrill. For Luciano, she calls out a play as she's between the circles. Bounce pass through Sherrill. Thinks about a pass once again. Kicks out to Kelly Loftus for a three-pointer. Hits back iron. Grab, though, for a second chance effort now from Luciano. Shades to her right. Pass over to Asia Jackson. Kicks all the way out. Left corner. Thinks about a shot for Loftus. Thinks about it. Puts it up instead from 5 feet away. It's no good. And here comes Johnson going the other way from left to right. They trail by 1 here. It's 34-33. D. Thomas Palmer looks like she'll check back into the ball game so far. She has 7 points, a new career high for her. On the low post, here's Hines Allen. Thinks about a shot. Here comes Alberson from a three-pointer and drains it. Camille Alberson, her second three-pointer of this game, and Towson takes the lead back. It's 36-34, 14:40 to play. Loftus, Asia Jackson, and a timeout's called by Coach Tavesky. They're now down to 3 timeouts, both teams down to 3 timeouts. Towson leads at 36-34, Mark. Hofstra finally gets the first lead back in this game, but Towson keeps answering. As we mentioned, this Tigers team much different than a year before. Nikki Reed-Geckler, her first season here at the helm for the Towson Tigers. She had back-to-back 21 seasons at Howard University. The first for the program. She had 3 postseason appearances. So for her, it's a whole new chapter for the Towson Tigers.
And today, it's surprising people on offense, like Camille Alberson. She's only averages about 10 minutes per game. She's got 20 in this game, and she's hit 2 3-pointers. She's 2 for 2 from beyond the arc, 8 points. So surprising people on offense in this new regime for Towson.
Luciano, Jackson, Sherrill, Annie Payton, and D. Thomas Palmer. Thinks about a shot, drives inside, puts one up from 14 feet away, and that hits nothing for Ruth Sherrill on the right side. It'll go out of bounds. Annie Payton not happy with the call at all. So it'll be Tigers basketball leading by 2 here with under 14:30 to play in this first half. Here comes Johnson. She averages about 4 assists per game. She's also one of 2 CAA players this season so far in the non-conference to score 30 points or more. To the inside now, Hines Allen with a good post move, and she misses. So here going the other way, here comes Luciano. She crosses half court with speed, dribbles with the right hand, and goes back to the right wing. She'll slow things down, cross-court pass. Thinks about a shot. Aja Jackson drives baseline, lays it up with the right hand, no good. Rebound grabbed by two Pride members. That was D. Thomas Palmer and Ruth Sherrill, but the foul is called on Sierra Webb. So it will be Hofstra basketball, third team foul. And for Sierra Webb, that will be her third personal foul. The inbound will be just to the left of the basket. D. Thomas Palmer will have Jaquel comes into the game now. Jaquel King-Gilchrist as Annie Payton will check out. Palmer on the inbound. Here's Ruth Sherrill. And now Loftus. Three-point attempt from Asia Jackson in the left wing. Left corner, rather, that is blocked. So knocked out of bounds. Only 5 seconds taken off the shot clock. 25 now on the shot clock. Towson still leads at 36-34. On the inbound, here's Luciano left of the basket. Puts it all the way out to the top of the key, almost stolen away by Sierra Webb. But Jackson will have, and here's Luciano. She shades to her right. Looks to her coach to call out a play, gets a pick. As falling down was Dominique Johnson on the screen, actually by Ruth Sherrill. But as she came in, she is fouled. The foul will go on Sierra Webb once again. It'll be one of those hand check fouls, so she's seriously now in a bad situation with 4 personals. So she will take a seat, and Tanisha McTiller will step back into the ballgame, their best player. Bounce pass on the inbound. Here's Luciano left wing, guarded on by Dominique Johnson. She shades to her right. 25 seconds on the shot clock here as Luciano will call out a play. The freshman bounce pass to D. Thomas Palmer, looking for somebody to pass to. Finds Asia Jackson, thinks about a three-pointer, drives down the lane, back up to D. Thomas Palmer. To the on the right side, tries to lay one up with the right hand underneath. Is no good, but Luciano quickly the other way. Here comes Dominique Johnson. Tries to get an underhand pass to Hines Allen, and knocked out of bounds by D. Thomas Palmer coming back. Strong play there from the sophomore.
Great hustle there by D. Thomas Palmer, getting all the way back and being able to deflect that pass, but Towson will get the ball back now with 26 seconds left on the shot clock.
Johnson will inbound just to the right of the basket and swings out to Hines Allen. Thinks about a shot, puts one up from 14 feet, but she's fouled on the way up. It looks like it will go against Ruth Sherrill. If it's Sherrill, it is. It's her third and the team's second in this ball game. So Rudy, once again, as she's known on this team, getting into foul situation. That's one of the reasons why you have Ayla playing more minutes, to be honest with you, Mark, because Ruth Sherrill is a good ball player as Hines Allen hits the first.
Well, they're both pretty good ball players in their own right. They both do bring things to the table that are good. So if one's in foul trouble, they're different. They bring different things to the table. If one's in foul trouble, the other one can step in, but it brings a different feel as she makes the second.
Hines Allen had to take a seat early on. She now has 9 points in this ball game. 2 members have 9 points for the Towson Tigers. Actually, excuse me, that was 10 points for Hines Allen on the second free throw. So she's in double digits. The first player on the court to be in double digits. Anma Anyuku will come in, so will Aloetta Faroka. Ruth Sherrill takes a seat as D. Thomas Palmer will sit on the bench as well. Ayo with 3 personal fouls and 8 points in this ball game. Towson leads it 38-34. And here comes the freshman, Luciano. Going from right to left in their home white uniform, she calls out and grabs her jersey to call out a play, actually. Dribbles to her right, passes off to Asia Jackson. Works around a screen, stutter step, drives baseline, lays it up with the right hand, no good. But she will go to the foul line. Asia Jackson already has 2 points in this game. That's 5 team fouls now for Towson, and the second going to Brianna Bush.
Asia Jackson in this second half, she's 0 for 2 from the field so far, and she's been calling for a lot of shots. She's been in that left corner a lot calling for shots, and one time she just got blocked as the first one rattles out. Almost went in and rattled back out. So Asia Jackson trying to do something on offense, but only 2 points today. She hasn't really been very successful in her opportunities, especially at the line. She's 2 for 5.
She hits the second one, and it's 38-35, so that cuts the 8-0 run by Towson. Now it's 8-1 over the last 3 minutes. It's really a game of about 3-4 minutes, Mark, as Hofstra had the 343 where they played much, much better in Towson, out-rebounded them, outscored them, outshot them, and that's what brought them back and tied up this ball game going into half. Almost poked away by the Hofstra Pride, and now she's fouled as Hines Allen. She was on the left elbow. She's actually has a sigh of relief. She had 3 members on her. Hines Allen averaging 15 points per game. She didn't play last season, we mentioned before. And it looks like she'll end up inbounding just to the right. Actually, be Dominique Johnson who will inbound. But she did not play last season because of a transfer rule. She's from Virginia Tech. That's where she played her first 2 seasons of college basketball. And the inbounder, Tanisha McTiller, who puts it off glass and in. It's 40-35. Towson leads the Hofstra Pride with 12:20 to play. Kelly Loftus will check in during the next break. The right side now, Gilchrist. Alo Edifaroka tries to come around on the right elbow, but she loses control of the basketball. And poked away once again by Anamanyuko, almost a backcourt violation, as McTiller had control of the ball and had 1 foot very close to the half-court line. Here's Johnson, and she'll call out the play, their point guard. Markel Smith dribbles with the right hand, guarded on by Asia Jackson. Stolen away now by Anamanyuko. Steal for her. She averages close to 2 per game. And here comes the other way. Luciano, pass over to Asia Jackson. She gets bumped on the way. She'll be fouled by Markel Smith for Smith. That will be her 3rd and the team's 6th. So Hofstra will have the basketball when we come back. 40-35, Tigers lead it over the Hofstra Pride. 11-43 remaining in the second half of action. You're listening to Hofstra Pride basketball right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. Points per game, much, much different between home and away.
And it's 58 points per game on the road for Hofstra. Their opponents are scoring 67 against them on the road. They're averaging 74 points per game at home, and they have a 4-2 record. And this Towson Tigers team also not very good away from home. They're 2-5 this year.
Luciano Loftus, Anamanyuko as a shot from Loftus, no good. Rebound almost poked away by Anamanyuko. But she is called with a foul. That will be the 4th for AO. She's really has been unable to get comfortable in this ball game now with 4 fouls, 8 points though. So Tigers will take the basketball and Sydney Epps will step in. Anamanyuko will take a seat. It's Sydney Epps, Kelly Loftus, Asia Jackson, Krista Luciano, and D. Thomas Palmer. Dominique Johnson, Latori Hines Allen, Camille Alberson, Markel Smith, and Tanisha McTiller, of course. Here's McTiller, pass to the inside is Hines Allen, a low block, spin around. The shot is good, but they'll call a travel on it. The basket went in, does not matter. Hofstra basketball, 40-35, they still trail.
That would have been Allen's first bucket of the second half. She's only got 2 points in this half, 2 free throws though, and she had 8 points in the first, 4 for 8 from the field.
3 personal fouls in the first half. Had her take a seat. She averages close to 35 minutes per game. Driving baseline, D. Thomas Palmer, spin around, puts one up with the right hand. No good, but she is called with an offensive foul right underneath the basket. So basketball will end up going to the Towson Tigers. Turnover from both teams now. For D. Thomas Palmer, that was her first turnover in this game. Here's McTiller, fakes the shot from 15 feet away, puts one up from 13, no good. Sydney Epps grabs the rebound, almost poked loose by McTiller underneath the basket. Luciano, she crosses half court, dribbles the right hand, pass over to Asia Jackson, back now to Luciano, the freshman, hands it off on the right side and stolen away by Tanisha McTiller. She does that more than 2 times per game. Bounce pass to Smith, lays it up and in, no good with the right hand, rolls in and out. Went out of bounds by the Tigers, so it'll be Hofstra basketball. Annie Payton will step into the ballgame, and Coach Tavesky ends up calling a timeout. They're down to 2 timeouts in this ballgame. That turnover there is something that cannot happen, Mark. That's another turnover for the Hofstra Pride so far in this ballgame. They have 13 compared to 9. But when you look at the visiting numbers, they've forced 13 of them, every single one of them. And they've gotten points off them as well. They have 12 points so far off of turnovers in this second half, in this entire game. But in the second half, Mark, Hofstra, a little bit different. They were strong coming out of the gate, but a little bit different than we were seeing from them as of recently. So Hofstra will check back in. It'll be Annie Payton who just checks into the ball game. Krista Luciano, Sydney Epps, D. Thomas Palmer, and Kelly Loftus. So 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a senior. Annie Payton thinks about a shot, goes to the inside now for D. Thomas Palmer. Lays it up off glass and in. D. Thomas Palmer has 9 points, extends on that career high. She cuts the deficit to 3. It's 40-37. Towson leads it. Shades to her right is Dominique Johnson. Here's McTiller. Thinks about a shot. Hands off to Smith, who spins around, no good. Board grab there from D. Thomas Palmer. With speed the other way, here's Luciano. Loses control of the basketball, almost poked away by McTiller, but here comes Dominique Johnson. On a transition pass, here's Smith. Fakes the shot, puts the second one up and in. Markel Smith, she has 4 points in this ball game. It's 42-37, and making the Pride pay on their turnovers. Annie Payton, top of the key. Here's Luciano now. Thinking about working around a screen from Sydney Epps, but Epps will shade off to her left. Now here's Kelly Loftus. Ruth Sherrill will step into the ballgame during the next whistle. Long rainbow pass cross court. Annie Payton drives baseline. Here's Sydney Epps from 3, and that hits back iron. The board is grabbed by Annie Payton. Thinks about a shot from 16 feet away. Just past the foul line, but they will slow things down. Coach Savesky wants a full play and a half-court offense to run. Bounce pass to Sid Epps. Here's Kelly Loftus. Thinks about a shot. Drives down the lane. Lays it up with the right hand. No good. As she crossed over Markel Smith. It's 42-37 with about 9 minutes to play in this second half. It looks like Alexis Carter will step into the ballgame during the next whistle as well. Tanisha McTiller loses control of the ball, and Annie Payton fouls her. Kostoveski not happy about it. Immediately, AP taps her chest and said, "That was my bad." Absolutely. So Ruth Sherrill will step into the ballgame. Kelly Loftus will take a seat, and so will DTP, D. Thomas Palmer. Alexis Carter will step into the ballgame as well. Going from left to right, it will be Dominique Johnson on the inbound just to the left of the basket. Looking for somebody to pass to, and she finds McTiller. Drives baseline, no good, and a rebound grab there by Ruth Sherrill. Coming the other way, here comes Crystal Luciano. Cross-court pass to Annie Payton. Thinks about a three-pointer, fakes the shot, moves inside and drains it. Annie Payton has 8 points coming off the bench. It's 42-39. The Pride trail by 3. About 8:30 to play in this ballgame. And a foul's going to be called now. Looks like on Annie Payton. They're calling on an AP for, like, who got her elbow up. So for Payton, that'll be her second, the team 6. So both teams now in the bonus situation. Here's Tanisha McTiller. Top of the key now, Dominique Johnson. Inside, Smith, Alberson. Spin around, the post move from Hines Allen is good. Her first bucket of the second half. She has 12 points now. It's 44-39. Tigers lead it. Luciano shades to her left. Driving baseline now on the left side. Alexis Carter tries the floater. No good. Second chance effort now from Sydney Epps. 2 Tiger defenders on her, but Hofstra will have a new 30. Anma Onyuku on the bench, motivating her team. They'll set up a new half-court offense here. Annie Payton to the low block now. Ruth Sherrill hits off the side of the backboard. Going the other way, here comes McTiller and the Tigers. McTiller, stutter steps, puts it up with the right hand. She's fouled on the way up. It's no good. but she will head to the line. Alexis Carter has 2 fouls in this ball game. They're now in the bonus situation, but she will shoot 2 when we come back. 44-39. Towson leads it over the Hofstra Pride. You listen to Hofstra Pride basketball right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. Sports Network. Well, we are back here. Dan Safarino, Mark Wiener. Tigers leading the first meeting of the season right now. They'll meet once again on Tuesday, February 6th. That'll be down in Maryland. Tanisha McTiller will head to the line. Alexis Carter on the foul. They'll be here second. So 17 fouls for the Hofstra Pride. They're in the bonus situation, the 1-and-1, but McTiller will end up shooting 2 because it was on the shot. For Hofstra, as she hits the first one, McTiller now has 10 points. She's in double digits. But for Hofstra, they have had some trouble their last few shots. They're 2 for their last 10. And that has been one of the biggest stories in the last few minutes or so, even though they did take the lead. McTiller hits the second one. It's 46-39. They have a 7-point lead, 7:45 remaining in this game. Annie Payton, Asia Jackson, Ruth Sherrill, Sydney Epps, and Alexis Carter. So it'll be Asia Jackson who will be running the point. Hofstra going big here. Alexis Carter drives baseline, spins around, guarded on by Tanisha McTiller. A good defensive play by her. Now between the circles, only 5 seconds on the shot clock. Jackson drives around, works a screen, off glass, no good. And rebound grab there from Hines Allen. And immediately Annie Payton is there. Jump ball will end up going in the way of the Towson Tigers, Mark.
And that's Jackson's 4th missed field goal of the game. She's 0 for 4. All of her points have come off of 3 free throws.
It'll be Dominique Johnson, Tanisha McTiller, Latori Hines Allen, Camille Alberson, and Markel Smith. A foul will be called in right there on. We'll see who actually that was on. Either way, they'll shoot a 1-and-1. It'll be Asia Jackson. That'll be Asia Jackson with the foul, her second. She'll go talk to Coach Staveski on the sideline after Krista Luciano will step in. McTiller will shoot 2 more. Tanisha McTiller only shooting 3 for 18 from the field. We mentioned it before, Mark. You were just saying. Struggle shooting as she puts up the first one. The front end of the 1-and-1 is good. It's 47-39. But she has struggled from the field, but she has been getting it done. That's the difference. She still has 5 rebounds, but it's not the McTiller, I think, parts that you expected, but she still does open up the floor for everybody else who hits the second.
It's not the dominating McTiller you expect. She only shoots 34% from the field in this season and 10 for 40 from 3, but you don't expect 3 from 18 and 12 points in her this late in the second half.
Here's Sydney Epps from 17 feet away, and nothing but net. Sid Epps. It's 48-41. Hofstra still trails. Hofstra playing in a press now, but broken by the Towson Tigers. Bounce pass that. Alberson lays it off glass and in with the left hand at the left block. Good vision there from Hines Allen. She averages just about an assist per game, a little bit less. But the forward with good vision, it's 50-41. Pride trail by 9 now. Driving baseline is Annie Payton. She has nowhere to go, though. She stops her dribble. Here's Luciano. Drives on the right lane and lays it up and in. Crystal Luciano, it took her till this point in the ball game, but she hits her first field goal and her first 2 points. It's 50-43. Hofstra trails with under 6:15 to play. Towson will slow things down, up by 7, and 6 minutes remaining in the ball game. McTiller, right side, goes to her right, guarded on by Luciano. Back to her left hand, stops her dribble, jump stop, no good. Lays up the second one, rolls around, almost falls in, but she's fouled on the way up. Looks like the foul will go against Ruth Sherrill. If it is Sherrill, that will be her 4th. It is. It's her 4th and the team's 9th. So the next foul will end up being the double bonus situation. McTiller will end up shooting 2 here on the shooting foul. 4 of the Tiger members are in the backcourt right now, as Sid Epps, Alexis Carter, and the first one is drained by McTiller. As Ruth Sherrill will take a seat, Alo comes in, and here's Anma Nuku. She has 4 fouls as well.
Dan, I think the reason you see these 4 players for the Tigers in the backcourt is definitely scouting by this Towson Tigers staff. That you see Hofstra, when they're in these late game situations, love to run and gun, and they're trying to not let them run them out of the gym and make it not give them an easy shot, as the second one is good.
She has 15 points in this ball game, only about 2 points away from her season average. Luciano, she just scored her first bucket just a few minutes ago on the last possession by the Hofstra Pride. It's 52-43. They trail by 9 points in this ball game. Here's Luciano, bounce pass. Alexis Carter finds Luciano in the left corner. Here's Alo Edifaroka, up and under, no good on the left block. It's a second chance effort, good, and the foul. Alo Edifaroka, good post move by her, second chance effort. She now has 5 points in this game. It's 52-45. She'll try and make it a 3-point play the old-fashioned way.
And that's Edifaroka's 7th rebound of the game, the 15th offensive rebound for the Pride so far today. And Edifaroka will make the and one, and that was something in the Delaware game. Hofstra was getting beat on the boards, especially offensively, and today they've solved that problem, at least for the most part.
Well, that woke up the Pride bench for sure. They are pumped up. Breaking the press, though, here's Markel Smith and Dominique Johnson. It's 52-46. Alo, she has 6 points in this ball game now. Stolen away now by Annie Payton. Here she comes, the left hand with speed. She stops, puts it up with the left hand herself, rolls around and in. Annie Payton, she's in double figures, and Hofstra quickly on a 5-0 run. It's 52-48. They trail Towson with under 5 minutes to play. Double teaming on the sideline is Markel Smith. She steps out of bounds. Annie Payton is fired up. It'll be Hofstra basketball. They'll try and cut this to 2. Timeout called by Nikki Reed Geckler. They're down to 1 timeout. It's 52-48 with under 5 minutes to play. And Mark, what a difference. Things can happen. Annie Payton has not started the last couple of games, but she still brings you that fire off the bench. She's always been the person who's in your face, as Coach Saveski liked to say. He's a 3-headed monster, as she was saying, with leadership in the beginning of the season. But she's still in her face, and you know what? She knows how to turn over and really spark up a team.
And she makes these plays in clutch situations, as she did against Delaware. She tied up that game with the three-pointer, and today she's made a couple of clutch threes that she did in the first half. She just had that steal and came up and made that layup, and then she forces the turnover here on the other side. Annie Payton all over the floor making a difference, and that's the reason Hofstra's back within for her, among other reasons.
Luciano Anmanyuku, Alexis Carter, Alo Edifaroka, and Annie Payton. Here comes Luciano, goes to her right, over her head pass actually to A.O., who was thinking about a shot and then thinking about a pass. Doesn't do either, we'll pass it off now. Here's Annie Payton to A.O. at the foul line, and that's good. It's a 2-point game, 52-50. Towson leads it with 4:30 to play in this ball game. Hofstra in a 2-2-1 trap. McTiller tries to break it, and she does. Here's Hines Allen. On the left side now, Dominique Johnson. McTiller has it back, 15 seconds from the shot clock. It's 52-50. Hofstra on a 7-0 run, about the last minute of game action. Here's McTiller, and she's blocked by Alo Edifaroka underneath the basket. It'll go out of bounds. Dominique Johnson was there as Alo. Good sportsmanship helps her up, Mark Wiener.
Very good sportsmanship and a very good block there by Alo Edifaroka, getting in the face of the Towson player and getting the block. They don't get the ball back, and now she forces the turnover.
Almost forces a turnover. Markel Smith takes it with 6 seconds on the shot clock, puts it off glass and in. That cuts it. The 7-0 run for the Hofstra Pride. It's 54-50 now, under 4 minutes to play. Here's Luciano, shades to her left, now to Anmanyuku. Thinks about a three-pointer, drives on the right side of the lane, leaves it up off glass. That one's just short, though, and rebounded by the Tigers. Hofstra has 2 players in double figures. That's Annie Payton and Anmanyuku, but guess what? Anmanyuku with 4 fouls, so that's going to be a situation towards the end of this ball game. Here's Markel Smith on the right side now. Is Tanisha McTiller in the right corner. Swings all the way out to Alberson, looking for another three-pointer, and she drains it. Alberson, 3 for 3 from beyond the arc. She now has 13 points. It's 57-50. Tigers lead it, 3:15 remaining. Annie Payton, top of the key, drives inside, puts it up from 14, no good. And knocked out of bounds. Looks like it'll be last touch by Towson. We'll sort it all out when we come back. 57-50, Tigers lead. The Hofstra Pride, you don't want to miss this finish. It's Hofstra Pride basketball right here on the Hofstra Pride Sports Network. Game. Lower than the average she has in her last 3 starts, Mark, but she was averaging close to 9 points per game.
Not her best game in this recent stretch. She hasn't been playing that well at all. Only 3 shots from the field, 3 assists, as the first one is no good, and Luciano really needs to step up her game in these final 3 minutes if Hofstra is going to have any shot at winning. It's
57-50, 2:45 to play here in this second half of action in this ball game so far. Hofstra with 9 fouls, and Towson with 8. Going from left to right, here's Dominique Johnson, the point guard. Markel Smith, the inside now. Hines Allen on the right block, guarded on by D. Thomas Palmer. Rainbow pass the inside, almost knocked away by Anmanyuku. Last touch by AO as it goes out of bounds. Good defensive play there from the captain. 6 seconds will be on the shot clock for the Towson Tigers here. It'll be Dominique Johnson on the inbound. You got to watch out for Tanisha McTiller, who comes inside and give it right to her, which drives baseline. It goes off her foot, knocked out of bounds. It'll be Hofstra basketball. Mark, I was just saying it right there. You have to watch out for that. And that backdoor cut, they do it a lot on the inbound, and they tried to do it once again. Luckily, Hofstra, crisis averted.
It was just poorly executed, though. Dominique Johnson tried the bounce pass to her, but it hit Tanisha McTiller's feet and went out of bounds.
Here's Luciano, hands it off to Annie Payton. She's been playing a few more minutes. She did not start this game. She has not started the last 3. Cross-court pass to Alexis Carter. It's poked away by Tanisha McTiller. Knocked out of bounds. It'll be Hofstra basketball with 20 seconds on the shot clock. 2:12 on the game clock. 57-50. Luciano will inbound on the baseline just to the left of the basket. For the freshman point guard, now to Annie Payton. Thinks about a three-pointer, hesitates, goes to her right, puts it up from 14, no good, front iron. Hofstra grabs the basketball once again. They have a fresh 30. Good play there from Annie Payton. She's fired up.
Annie Payton's trying to take over this game, Dan.
She hit a big three-pointer to tie it up and go to OT against Delaware with 9.9 seconds left in their last game. Timeout called from Coach Savesky. They will be down to 1 timeout. It's a 30-second timeout, under 2 minutes to play, 1:54 remaining. Towson leads Hofstra 57-50. Towson still on a 5-0 run. Technically, Hofstra was on a 7-0 run, answered right back by the Tigers. So, Mark, I ask you right here, with under 2 minutes to play, you know you can get the runs. You're winning the rebounding battle by 10 right now, which is, to be honest with you, a little bit surprising for a very good rebounding team that are the Towson Tigers. But it's going to come down to those few rebounds as it did against Delaware. And
against Delaware, Hofstra, plain and simple, did a poor job on the rebounding battle. Now, Ruth Sherrill's out with foul trouble. Alo Etafaroka, it's going to be, a lot of it is going to be on her. So she's played well today. She has 7 rebounds, leading the team. She's got to get down on that rebounding battle. Ama Onyuku out with fouls. You got to be careful with her so she can't be as aggressive as she normally would be.
Annie Payton, Ama Onyuku, D. Thomas Palmer, Krista Luciano, and Alexis Carter going from right to left. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Luciano between the circles finds Alexis Carter. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Luciano, puts up a three-pointer, and that's good! Her first three-pointer of the game. She has 5 points, cuts the deficit to 4. It's 57-53. 90 seconds remain in this ballgame. A big time for Krista Luciano, who is now 1 for 2 from beyond the arc. Here's Markel Smith on the right wing. Looking for somebody to pass to. They'll slow things down. Albertson, top of the key. Guarded on heavily by Annie Payton. Kicked out. 5 seconds on the shot clock. McTiller, right wing, 3 seconds on the shot clock. Puts one up from 17 feet away and drains it. 59-53. Tanisha McTiller makes it a 6-point game. 1 minute remaining. Here comes Luciano going from right to left. She crosses the timeline. Annie Payton puts up a deep three-pointer. Rolls in and out. Rebound grabbed there by Hines Allen. Another rebound for her. That's rebound number 9. She averages about 8 per game. 45 seconds remain in this ball game. Towson leads by 6. A big rebound there, Mark, from Latore. Hines Allen. McTiller drives baseline now and lays it off glass and in. It's 61-53. 33.6 seconds remaining. Hofstra's going to need a quick bucket. They want to get back in this ball game and possibly upset the Tigers in this final minute. Cross-court pass. Alexis Carter drives to the paint, puts one up from the right, foul extended, it's good, and the foul. Alexis Carter will try and make it a 3-point play and make it an N1 situation. It's 61-55. Carter will head to the charity stripe.
And it looked like Carter was taking a little bit too much time. They ticked about 10 seconds off the clock there in that possession, but Alexis Carter makes the shot. We're about the right elbow and then gets the foul, was able to draw the foul. So Hofstra's not out of it yet. They can bring it within 5 if Alexis Carter makes this free throw.
It's her first free throw in the final minute of the ball game. She drains the N1. It's 61-56. So now we have a 5-point ball game. Shot clock is off. Asia Jackson stepped into the ball game. Alexis Carter takes a seat. Here's Hines Allen on the inbound, and Annie Payton will foul her. So with 9, now 10 team fouls, Albertson will shoot 2 from the free throw line to try and extend this to a 3-possession game. It's 61-56, 23.7 seconds remaining. Albertson so far in this game has 13 points. He's 2 for 2 from the free throw line. We'll take a look at the foul situation for Hofstra. She put up the first one. It's no good. 61-56, it remains. Onyuku has 4 fouls. Payton has 3 fouls. They're the only 2 that are out there in foul situations. Sydney Epps is into the ball game right now. Second one misses on Yuku. Here comes Crystal Luciano with speed down the right wing. Finds Asia Jackson from right corner 3. That's front iron. Rebound almost grabbed away by Annie Payton and grabbed now by Latori Hines Allen and fouled. It will be Sydney Epps with the foul. So she will shoot 2. It will be Hines Allen with 12.6 seconds remaining. Annie Payton was upset that she wasn't able to grab that rebound, but Asia Jackson with a short jumper.
The bad day for Asia Jackson continues there, Dan. That's now 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. I don't know if Asia Jackson's necessarily the one you want with the ball in your hand, or want to put the ball in her hand in this late game situation, as she misses the first one, does Allen. So it looks like Hofstra will go to 0-2 in the CAA as they trail by 5 now with 12 seconds to go.
Hines Allen makes the second one. It's a 6-point game. Hofstra will need 2 quick 3-pointers with 12 seconds remaining on the clock. Here's Luciano with speed over the right wing. 8 seconds on the clock. Puts up a 3-pointer. That one hits nothing. Grabbed by Hines Allen. And they will run out the clock. That will do it. Hofstra falls to 0-2 in CAA play. Nikki Reed Geckler gets her first win for the Towson Tigers in conference play. Towson goes to 1-0 in the CAA 62-56 final here from the Mack.
Just a game that Hofstra had so many opportunities to win. Another very similar game to the Delaware game, the first 2 CAA matchups, and Hofstra ends up shooting 34% from the field, only 19% from 3. Something they've been doing all season long is not shooting very well from 3, and it kills them here. Once again, they fall to Towson, and a lot of missed opportunities, Dan.
You can definitely say that. Kelly Loftus has one of her worst games in the last couple of starts. She has 2 points, goes 1 for 6. Asia Jackson 0 for 5 from the field. She has only 3 points. Sid Epps with 2. Here's Sherrill with 2. We're joined now by assistant coach Faisal Khan. And coach, a tough loss, but what do you think were the biggest problems in this game and why you weren't able to come out?
Tell me what we were from the free throw line. I want to say at one point we were 10 for 20 about like 2 minutes to go in the game.
11 for 21. 52%.
Yeah. So we left 10 points. 11 for what again?
11 for 21.
Left 10 points on the line. I believe of those 10, maybe 2 were front end, so we probably left 13 free throws out there. I think that had a lot to do with it. We gritted, we busted our butt, we got it back to 27-all at halftime. Even at halftime, I think we were maybe 8 for 16 or something like that from the foul line at halftime. Something 50%, close to 50%. So, you know, those are free throws that you can't get back, opportunities you can't get back. And then give Towson credit for opening up the second half. At one point, I think they were up 5, and we cut it back and tied it up, and they just kept on at it. They got a couple of really good dynamic guards. We did not move our feet accordingly and got into foul trouble. But personally, without watching tape and going back over it with the live game right in front of us right before me come in here, the free throws we left, and those are opportunities you can't get back.
Coach, you end up shooting only 16% from 3, or I'm sorry, 19%. What do you think? Why has that been such a big problem this year?
Yeah, stop shooting the 3 ball. Get to the paint. Get to the foul line. You know, I think, and you guys are probably like, you're saying the same thing. Not sure they're connected, but in my opinion, as a basketball coach, they are connected. I think with 10 minutes to go, we were sitting at Towson had 16 fouls. I think with like 11 minutes to go in the second half. And yeah, we're not hitting free throws, but hey, it's a great way to keep attacking the paint. You keep feeding the ball down to your post, get to the foul line. It stops the clock. It sets up your defense. You get to breathe a little bit. Your subs come in. It just helps with your tempo. And we weren't able to do that. So, you know, give Towson credit. We got to get to practice tomorrow. Saturday, we get to go on the plane ride to Wilmington, North Carolina, and then we got to play them on Sunday afternoon. So here we go.
Coach, last question before we let you go. You mentioned about going
One more? Really? One more?
One more quick
okay.
one. Now,
all right.
A positive, though, from the rebounding margin, 45-37, you out-rebound them. That surprised you at all since how good Towson is on the glass?
They're great on the glass, but, yeah, we battle, too. How many second chance points did we convert that into?
12.
Yeah. So, okay, it's great, but what are we doing then with that opportunity? We're bringing it back out. We got a full shot clock, and we're running another play, or are we being strong? Our core is low, and we're attacking. We're getting free throw line again. Stop the clock. So, you know, yeah, you can out rebound and all that stuff. There's also something to be said for you're getting a lot of rebounds because you're missing a lot of shots. So, you know, We got to get back, play a little bit better defense, move our feet a little bit better, and hit our free throws.
Assistant Coach Faisal Khan, we always appreciate the time you give us in postgame. Thank you.
I appreciate it, boys. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Have a good trip, Coach. Well, 62-56 final here, Mark, and you heard from Coach Khan himself. It was really just missed opportunities in this game. You said it before, and it really was. You shoot 52% from the charity stripe. Only 12 second chance points, as he was just mentioning. Even though I tried to make it a positive, of course, but, he's not going to be happy, of course, with the team's performance, especially with a loss. But, it wasn't the game that we saw from them the last couple, and especially against Delaware, too, where they did compete, and they blew it towards the end, but still it was a better game overall as a team game. Here, I was impressed with them on the glass, though, but still, it was kind of surprising with the missed opportunities.
I mean, I'd say on the glass is really the only positive you can take out of this game. It was just the other aspects of the game, you just didn't do a very good job. Anmanyuku and Annie Payton tied for 10 with leads and points, but Kelly Loftus and Crystal Luciano get the start once again, and they go from three very good games where they get the start to a game here where they just aren't in sync together, and Luciano didn't really finish with the best line, only 5 points. She did make that big three late in the game, but it didn't end up really meaning anything. 3 rebounds and 3 assists for her as well. She wasn't as involved in the game as she was against Delaware and against Albany, and I think that's a main thing. It seems that Hofstra's offense looks so much better when Crystal Luciano is at her best and really structuring that point.
Well, 3 members of this team for the Towson Tigers end up scoring in double figures. You expected 3 of them because 3 of them averaged that. One of them did not play in this game, Nari Williams. Still not sure exactly the problem was. I think it was an injury. She did not dress. It looked like she was dressed. She was sitting on the sideline, so I'm assuming it was an injury. But you look at the numbers, and it was even Alberson, who comes out of nowhere pretty much, averages only 2 points per game. She's played 11. She started her first game, and she goes 1 off from her career high. And 3 for 3 from beyond the arc, 13 points. For a team that's one of the top in the nation in three-point defense, did that really surprise you? Especially that they shot 41% in the first half and 57% in the second half?
I think the most surprising thing is just Albertson. They just left her open. She would be there at the top of the key and make her 3, and you don't expect her to make her 3. She only had 3 3-pointers coming into this game. She had 3 in this game here today, so that's surprising. And yes, you think Hofstra's very good at their perimeter defense, and normally it's the low post that hurts you for this Hofstra Pride team, but the complete opposite today. You let them shoot 41% from 3 in the entire game, 57%, as you mentioned, in this second half, and you don't expect that from Hofstra. You expect the low post players to dominate them, but you know what? Towson didn't have any low post players really that are Tamisha McTiller, yeah, technically, because she's on the rebounding glass all the time. She averages 8 rebounds per game. You can consider her a post player because of that, but she is a guard, and she was able to hurt you not as much as you would expect. She only had 19, but she was 5 for 21 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3. So I guess that's a positive you can look at. You can stop that player in McTiller that's a first-team CAA player and probably one of the best in the CAA, so that's another positive you can take for Hofstra.
Well, the home winning streak is over at 3, and they fall 62-56, 5-8 on the season, 0-2 in CAA play. Towson goes to 500 even, 1-0 in CAA. Well, they'll play once again down in Towson. That'll be on February 6th, a Tuesday night matchup down in Maryland. Next game for Hofstra, though, they'll be able to bounce right back. It'll be UNCW this upcoming Sunday. Josh Levin and Julian Coulter will have all the action for you this upcoming Sunday. But before we head there, of course, we have to ask one more time, Mark, how do you bounce back from this quickly? How do you bounce back from this for this loss?
Well, I think it's just a matter of going to practice and just putting this behind you, doing the best job you can.